Hi everyone, it's Gina. I'm going to go ahead and answer our week 2 prompt on Common Core and physical education. Explain which of the Common Core resources you found on the Spark website may be valuable and why. Alternatively, explain why none of it seemed valuable to you. I teach middle school physical education grades 6 through 8, and it's hard enough now to get kids to do their written assignment, which is what we call word of the week, and they're given one word pertaining to PE or sport, and they have to define it and then put it in a sentence relating to PE or sport. And I give them 5 full days to get that done and submit it through Google Classroom. And it seems that that is a hard enough task for them to begin with. It's literally an assignment that takes 5 minutes, and I still have kids that just don't turn it in. When I was reading over the actual core resources that Spark had, one of the things that we do as a department is in the writing section, we do a week's worth of food journaling and fitness journaling. Unfortunately, we tell the students, okay, you have to be detailed. Exactly kind of like what you ate. They put pizza, and it's just kind of like, that's not detailed. What did you have on the pizza? Or then they put like, oh, I had something to drink. And it's just like, okay, well, what did you have to drink? So it got to the point where they put like kind of zero effort into it. And I personally feel that a lot of the Common Core portion of it, I guess you can say I can take bits and pieces, like, the writing. I tried to create a new game, and it, like, having the kids create a new game, and that was hard also, just because of the fact that I was constantly getting, okay, well, what equipment can we use? And I was just like, and the only statute I gave them was, you have to have enough equipment to use for a class of 25, which is being nice. But I also told them that, is it, they're like, oh, we're going to use 25 basketballs. And it's, I tell them, or I try to explain to them, is it's safe to have 25 basketballs out there at once, which each student having a ball. So they're, which goes into like the critical thinking. They're thinking about what, oh, you're right. Which, like I said, there's bits and pieces that I would be able to put into my lessons. However, it's hard to put a full Common Core resource and still be able to engage my students, if that makes sense. Number 2, how could you adapt your coaching or lesson plans to incorporate all components of the 4Cs? Communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking. I know it says community on our prompt. We were always using communication, however. And I think on the actual website it shows communication. I don't believe it had community, or might have mentioned community prior. Anyways, so when it came to the 4Cs, it feels like that's like something that I've always used, and I've actually have it as part of my teaching philosophy and even my coaching philosophy. So when it came to the 4Cs, communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, I always want to be able to communicate with my students and my athletes. I always have kind of that open door policy. So if you have questions, if you have concerns, you can always come and communicate those questions or those concerns with me. Collaboration, being able to not only be able to communicate with my students, but be able to collaborate with my department, being able to share ideas, share activities, which goes into creativity, being able to get all of our ideas out there on the table and being able to pick and choose which ones we actually want to use, and see what actually may work for us that may not work for another teacher. And then also, same thing with coaching. Maybe a certain drill may help. In your head, it works. However, when you actually try to execute it, it doesn't work. And then you try to get the input from other coaches, and seeing little tweaks that you might be able to use. And then critical thinking, I think in reality, we want kind of open-ended possibilities. We don't want to say like, okay, this is done, you mastered it. There's no more room for improvement. You always want room for improvement. And in reality, I've always said that you never can really master anything because there's always room for improvement. And I think the critical thinking you can use as far as finding measurable outcomes, finding measurable goals, and then creating measurable goals that will happen, or that you can obtain. So those are my thoughts as far as the Common Core resources, which honestly, with the reading that we did, I felt like you may have geared that, or it may benefit more towards elementary school. For some reason, I feel middle school is kind of that in-between weird stage with the kids. So it's just trying to get them engaged in the class. So anyways, those are my thoughts. I can't wait to hear some of your responses and some of your experiences using the Common Core resources if you have, and the way you've used the 4 C's in your teaching and coaching. Have a great week. Bye.